Well, folks, I do hope you're all well. Am I? Yes, I am, folks, as it turns out. I am. I could do with a shave. I'll get that done tomorrow. Been another busy day today here at the coalface. Still navigating this move into a new property, and it's slow and it's arduous, but we will get there. I've also had work on today, so it's been pretty busy. Not a lot to report today. Showbiz-wise, there's nothing. Dead as a dodo. It's nearly all sports, to be honest with you. And to that, we'll start with a bit of golf. I noticed yesterday with the Ryder Cup, the upcoming Ryder Cup, they've changed the rules now in that they're America, and they're going to pay the players for competing for the US of A. I think initially they were getting about 300k each per Ryder Cup, but they each donated to charity. There's been a couple of bit of discontent in the last Ryder Cup where some were saying that they thought they should get paid because they said they think the PGA makes that much money, the players should be looked at as well. There was a couple of players amongst the Americans that didn't agree with that, but I think the bulk of them did. Anyway, to that end now, the PGA, or the US PGA, or USGA is it, have decided to pay the Americans. I think they're going to get between about 200 and 300,000 to put in their own back pocket, or to do with what they will. And they're also going to get 300,000 to give to charity. And I thought, what a shame. They've all got millions. In fact, many of them have got millions and millions and millions and millions, especially those that went over to live. They don't need any more money. They didn't need it for this. Representing the country, I would have thought, should have been enough for them. The Europeans thus far have decided not to pay the players. I hope it remains that way. It probably won't, but I hope it does. Not that I'm against anybody earning anything, but I think they earn well enough anyway. And as I say, I think the fact that you're representing your country or whatever it may be, in the case of Europe, it's the continent, would have been enough for them. To that end, I watched much of the Showdown last night. I bet many of you didn't. It was very, very hard to find to source, but I watched much of it. I've suffered for that today because I was very, very late getting into bed and up relatively early this morning. And thoughts on that were really linked to the Ryder Cup. For those that don't know it, it was McIlroy and Scheffler from the Tour, the PGA Tour, against DeChambeau and Koepka from the Live Tour. And the boys from the PGA Tour won and won well. But my big two points I would pull from the Showdown with us. The best player by an absolute country mile, and I mean a country mile, wasn't Scheffler as you'd have expected, or even DeChambeau was I thought he might have been. It was all Rory. Rory was absolutely fantastic. He was on fire throughout. His driving, impeccable. His iron play, great. His putting, which is often his Achilles heel, really, really good. He played really, really well. I think he took it as a Ryder Cup, and he had that same ethos that he has when he plays for Europe. But I think he wanted to put Liv in the place. You know, he's been the most outspoken against Liv over the first few months of the tour, and I really, really think he wanted to make a statement, and by heck did he. Played really, really well, he did. I mean, really well. What they did, it was a bit weird. They had an 18-hole match that they called the Showdown, and it was split into 3 sixes. I think the first 6 holes was like a better ball. I think 2 against 2, and you pick your better ball, if I remember rightly. I think it was. I should know and I don't. The next 6 was something else. A bit like the Ryder Cup, and I don't remember which, although I've seen it. I'm still walking around in the days from it. And the last 6 was head-to-head. I think you had Scheffler against Koepka and DeChambeau against Rory, if memory serves. I'd had a little wager on the Liv boys, only because I thought the odds were too big and I thought DeChambeau would go really, really well. The Liv boys couldn't make a putt to save their lives, but the bigger problem was twofold. Rory played so well, and one of the Liv boys was absolutely terrible. That was Koepka. He was absolutely shocking, and when I say shocking, I mean shocking. I think he took it too lightly. I don't think he was that bothered for all. They were all getting well paid. I mean, he did an approach in about the 4th or 5th hole of the second 6. The way they worked it was, if you won the first 6 holes, you got 1 point. Whoever won the second 6 holes got another point, and then they played for 2 points in the singles. Each could beat the other. Well, the PGA boys won the first 2 points, so the Liv boys had to win the last 2 singular matches. They had to win them both to take it to 2-all. Then they'd have gone to a playoff, a 1-all playoff. They never got that far. I think Scheffler beat Koepka by 2 after the 5th or 6th hole, and it was dead and buried, or the 4th hole it might have been. Might have been the 4th. I didn't see the last 2 or 3 holes. But honestly, the Liv boys had a chance of winning. Probably it'd have been all the 4th or 5th hole in the second block, which would have been, what would that have been, 6? Old 10 or 11. Rory's way out the way, behind loads and loads of trees and in the rough. Koepka's there with the full view of the green. It's a big green. All he has to do is put it anywhere near the flag. The pressure Rory was under was massive. I think they probably had to 2-putt to get in there. He played an absolutely shocking approach shot, and I mean shocking. He didn't stand over it that long. He didn't seem to think about it that long, and I thought, you're just not into this, are you? And then a couple of holes later, I think it was in the 2nd or 3rd hole of the final 6 when they were having the head-to-head, he had Scheffler with a putt from about, let's say 20 feet. Scheffler missed it by that. Had Koepka put it easy, he would have taken the hole. He was 1 behind at the time, and he'd have made it even. No, he'd got back to even. He'd have gone 1 up if memory serves, and he needed to win, as I say. He's from about 18 or 19 feet. He's at about 11 foot past, and you're thinking, why on earth would you do that? If he's not going in, why don't you just cozy up to the hole like Scheffler's done? And both in for 3, shared hole. I just couldn't believe it. About 8, 9, 10, 11 foot past it was. He missed his put back, and I thought, he's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. But it was noticeable. You've got your man McIlroy and Scheffler talking all the way around because they're in buggies and they're all mic'd up. The other two are barely talking to one another. Now, we do know that they had a massive fallout that lasted 2 or 3 years. I believe bridges have been mended to a great extent now, but they didn't look over happy. But more than that, I mean, it was played in the dark. It was all floodlit, which was a nice spectacle, but they looked absolutely freezing. DeChambeau especially. DeChambeau had a big quilted coat on all the way through and took it off for every shot. They looked absolutely freezing, and you're thinking, well, they're doing it for TV, but it's limited TV. It was on an American station, I think TNT in America. Nobody else was watching it. Obviously, they've got paid a king's ransom, but you're thinking to yourself, why play it at that time of year and that time at night there? Probably was 6 or 7 o'clock at night there. It was absolutely freezing. That's not, it's not ideal conditions for golf. They looked absolutely frozen, and Koepka himself looked like he didn't want to be there. He played like he didn't want to be there. But the upshot of it was Rory's still firing on all cylinders when it comes to match play and it comes to beating the Americans, or in this case, Liv. He's up for it. Don't worry about that. He was fantastic. He really was. But no, disappointing about the Ryder Cup, I've got to say. Very, very disappointing. But that's the way it goes, isn't it? It's all about money, 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 money. I've heard tonight about your man's, what's his name? Is it Per? I can't think of his name. The chairman there at Real Madrid, wanting to start this new European League, European competition. And he only wants to start it so he can boss the thing and he can get even more money for Real Madrid. And you're thinking, well, why even more games when everybody's complaining about how many games they're playing? Why play even more games? All he's going to do is weaken the leagues around Europe, and that'll be a shame. I mean, we've got the best league in the world. We don't want ours weakened at all. Let's hope the top teams don't fall for the old 5-card trick, even though there's money on the table. Let's hope they don't fall for it. Right, I'll leave it at that. I've spoken long enough, and that's it for the golf. We've not touched on it for a while, have we, the old golf?